I used to love Deadpool.
Dang, Skippy! Where are my manners? Introductions! Call me Deadpool. It rhymes with no school. Too cool, ain't no fool, and I'm the best that there is at what I do. Ooh. Moving on!
As a kid who was obsessed with superheroes, at one point, the Merc with the mouth, the regenerating degenerate, was my favorite one. I had a huge Deadpool poster on the wall of my childhood bedroom, and even though I wasn't a big fan of Disney XD's Ultimate Spider-Man, I constantly rewatched the Spidey Deadpool team-up episode where they take on Taskmaster.
Nice to see you kept my color scheme when you copied my suit. Am I like your idol?
Never heard of you. I designed this costume myself.
Sure! Black and white eyes, red suit, though you made it your own with the crossword theme. Oh wait! Webs! Those are webs!
Basically, I was Deadpool's #1 glazer. My favorite characters as a kid were Wolverine, Iron Man, and of course, the undeniable GOATs, Spider-Man and Batman. All heroes who, yeah, they had their character flaws, but they were generally honorable people, doing the right thing and mostly acting in the right way. Which is why reading the comic adventures of Wade Wilson was such a shock to the system. This was a hero who was overtly sexual, vulgar, violent, spoke directly to the audience, had questionable morals, and most importantly, he was hilarious. His wacky adventures were something I had never experienced before as a comic book fan. The first Deadpool story I read was Dead Presidents, where every US president from George Washington to Ronald Reagan gets brought back to life as zombies, and Deadpool gets hired to hunt them down.
What?
Yeah, you heard that correctly. May or may not have also featured a zombie dinosaur. As you can see, Deadpool was a bit of an edgy guy, and his humor and demeanor were very aimed at appealing to 12-year-old boys. I loved the character because he wasn't like the others. The suit, the guns, the swords, the personality.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And the thing I wanted most, more than anything, was a Deadpool movie. Now, did I get one?
Nope.
Am I not supposed to have what I want? What I need?
While the MCU was making movies about lame-ass Captain America and Thor of all people, Deadpool fans were left in the cold as Fox kept churning out X-Men movies, and some of them were peak, and others, we don't speak about the others. Yeah, there was a version of Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins, but come on. I don't know who that guy is supposed to be, they took the Merc with the mouth and sewed his mouth shut.
Not a great plan.
However, as they say, where there's a will, there's a way. And I got my version of a Deadpool movie by watching the gameplay walkthrough of the 2013 Deadpool video game.
You dicks hang out here often? Get it with the dicks? Get it.
Dude, don't talk while I pee, all right?
Okay, I get it. Never break the guy code again.
Holy crap!
Damn it, I can't think of any good dick jokes.
Bobby?
Hello?
Peter! Hey, I was just running around my game, and all of a sudden I noticed that some shit was fucked up. What's up with that?
I warned you about the budget, Deadpool. You literally blew all the money.
Budget? What? A cow? Nice try, Wheel. There are no cows on Genosha. What the hell?
Hey, there's Rogue! Flying just like us!
Flying right at us.
Deadpool, look out!
And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. And I pretty much had to like it, because it was the closest thing I would ever get to a Deadpool film.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Oh, hello. I know, right? Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? I can't tell you, but it does rhyme with Pulverine. And let me tell you, he's got a nice pair of smooth criminals down under. Anyway.
I think we all know the story of Deadpool 2016. After some test footage was leaked, the public and more importantly 20th Century Fox saw how much potential a Deadpool movie had, and so they brought back Ryan Reynolds, who was always a great choice to play the character, and got to work. This film will forever have a special place in my heart as a bit of an underrated masterpiece. On the surface, the film seems pretty standard, almost basic. It's a tale of revenge and romance, and it runs through the origin story like a lot of other superhero flicks. These are all tropes that we've seen before. However, this simple plot allows the movie to zero in on the characterization of Wade Wilson, how he interacts with others, and how he views himself through both his regular persona and his zany antics as Deadpool. The truth is that Wade was already a wisecracking, goofy, lovable jackass even before his powers activated. But this personality is also a coping mechanism for trauma, PTSD, and a sense of loneliness. The only person who he lets his guard down for is Vanessa, someone who, number one, is bad as hell, and number two, someone who's been through trauma and bad life experiences, masking them with humor and sarcasm just like him.
Childhood.
Rougher than yours. Daddy left before I was born.
Daddy left before I was conceived.
Ever had a cigarette put out on your skin?
Where else do you put one out?
I was molested.
Me too. Uncle.
Uncles. They took turns.
I watched my own birthday party through the keyhole of a locked closet, which also happens to be
Your
my...
bedroom. Lucky, I slept in a dishwasher box.
You had a dishwasher.
They match each other's emotional vulnerability, they match each other's longing for true human connection, and they match each other's freak. While the movie does unfortunately go the super generic route of the damsel in distress that we've seen a million times, it does eventually drive home the lesson of true beauty and self-worth being on the inside, not the outside. Loving someone earnestly despite their flaws and personal trauma. A surprisingly tender and heartfelt message to be found in a movie so packed with non-stop humor. And speaking of humor, this is deadass one of the funniest movies ever. Ryan Reynolds' comedic timing is flawless, and damn near every joke lands.
Can we go?
Look! I'm a teenage girl. I'd rather be anywhere than here. I'm all about long, sullen silences, followed by mean comments, followed by more silences. So what's it gonna be, huh? Long, sullen silence or mean comment? Go on.
You got me in a box here.
When it comes time to licking wounds, there's no place like home. And I share that home with someone you've met. The old blind lady from the laundromat, Al.
God, I miss cocaine.
Her. Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls. Yeah, it's me, Deadpool, and I got an offer that you can't refuse. I'm gonna wait out here, okay? It's a big house. It's funny that I only ever see two of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another X-Man.
But even more importantly than the jokes is that the movie knows when to take itself seriously, something that the MCU has needed to take notes on. Wade's discovery and depression after his cancer diagnosis is played straight, and so is his torture at the Weapon X facility. His origin story is given the dark, emotional gravitas it deserves, while also being intercut with the more action-packed and comedic scenes. The point I'm trying to make is that Deadpool 2016 was a home run, cause it understood the character, it had everything that made Deadpool cool and funny, and outside the norm of the MCU or X-Men movies, while retaining the more tragic, deeper core of the character. Someone who doesn't think they're worthy of love because of their disfigurement and has difficulties relating to people. This theme was carried over into 2018's Deadpool 2, aka DP2 cause we love a good DP. Vanessa dies in the opening scenes and gives us a broken and defeated Deadpool, who reluctantly joins the X-Men. Wade should really be a complete loner due to his self-hatred and annoying attitude, but this movie gives him a chance to form a makeshift family with the X-Force.
X-Force!
Isn't that a little derivative?
You're absolutely right.
Honestly, for movies that are so freaking goofy, the Deadpool franchise has a lot of heart and always finds a way to balance the darkness of Wade's circumstances with a bunch of jokes. Also, the post-credit scenes in this movie are some of the best ever.
God damn, that's beautiful.
You're welcome, Canada.
Now, it's worth mentioning that these movies made bank. I'm talking both of them damn near touching $1 billion. And that was because while other superhero movies played it mostly safe for a broad appeal, they stayed true to the character and allowed it to have an R rating, so we got sex jokes and bloody violence as far as the eye could see. Just a few years earlier, the idea of a mainstream, commercial, R-rated superhero flick was unthinkable. But now it was a reality, and audiences loved it because it was so unique. At least it was, until it wasn't.
Homelander?
Boys okay?
Can I get a selfie?
Of course you can.
Deadpool has had an effect, but not the one intended. The R-rated hero has become mainstream in the past few years. Whether it be for graphic violence or wild out-of-pocket jokes, Logan, The Suicide Squad, The Boys, Invincible probably wouldn't have had the same success if Deadpool never showed it was possible. But while I love to see superheroes say the word fuck and kill people as much as the next guy, I will admit there's a certain cynicism that's crept into the genre. It's gotten so bad that people are kind of fiending for earnest, hopeful comic book movies like the upcoming Superman and Fantastic Four films. Not to say these R-rated superhero movies and shows aren't good, they are, but there's always a sarcastic, sardonic edginess to them that sometimes feels a bit fake. Edginess for the sake of being edgy, like comics in the 90s. Yeah, this tone works for Wade Wilson because that's just his character and he can always wink and nod to the audience by breaking the fourth wall, but his whole shtick has lost some of the specialness it used to have. This style of writing and portraying superheroes has been kinda overexposed. And speaking of overexposure,
My dream would be to do an absolutely 100% faithful Deadpool adaptation, straight out of the comic books, breaking the fourth wall, pop culture references, the whole 9 yards, knows he's in a movie, knows he's in a comic book.
Right.
You know, that kind of vibe, that would be a dream come true.
we, as a society, cannot escape Ryan Reynolds. He's in phone playing commercials. He's in alcohol commercials. He's in football for some reason. He's in sloppy, fake-looking, straight-to-Netflix garbage action movies over and over and over again. And he is constantly, and I mean constantly, playing Deadpool. At this point, the character and him are inseparable. You can't think of one without the other. Clearly, he loves playing the character, and an actor passionate about their role is never a bad thing. But many of Reynolds' recent performances always have the vibe of being a watered-down version of Wade Wilson. At this point, Deadpool just feels like an extension of Ryan Reynolds' personal brand. Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know, but either way, it's getting kind of annoying. Before 2016, Deadpool's appearances in cartoons, animated movies, and video games all had slightly different vibes, but ever since 2016, it seems we've only ever gotten Reynolds' specific version of the character plastered all over pop culture. And again, this has made Deadpool lose a bit of the specialness he used to have. Of course, when he finally got to play Deadpool again in an actual Deadpool movie, after years of creative upheaval, he obviously killed it. He was born to play this role in the same way RDJ was born to play Iron Man and Hugh Jackman was born to play Wolverine. Oh yeah, speaking of him, after Disney was allowed to expand their evil empire by taking over 20th Century Fox, it was clear that Deadpool would be on their agenda of characters to prioritize and integrate into the MCU. Deadpool in the MCU? I mean, let's fucking go, we are so back. Is what I probably should have been saying, but I had my concerns. They said they would keep the R rating, but I didn't really buy it. I was worried they would water down the violence and cursing to fit the MCU, and I was wrong about that. What they did water down though was the story and Wade's characterization. Marvel ended up making a decision that really scared me.
Hi.
Hi.
Wait, what?
How are you?
You have questions.
Yes. I had a lot of questions. I'm sure you had a lot of questions, but rest assured, we're going to answer them right now.
You serious?
When this news dropped, I really started gaslighting myself into believing that it wasn't true. I mean, Wolverine, the GOAT of the X-Men, Hugh Jackman, the GOAT of Australia, being brought back after the perfect emotional ending that was Logan, all for what? Money? Nostalgia bait?
Am I really gonna defile this grave for money? Of course I am!
The movie ended up being called Deadpool and Wolverine. Unfortunately, instead of DP3, I wanted to experience another DP, but you know.
Am I not supposed to have what I want? What I need?
Bringing back Logan and having nostalgia bait cameos from other Fox Marvel heroes gave me a bad feeling, and so I initially chose to skip this movie. When I eventually got around to watching it though, I was pleasantly surprised with how much fun I had with it. Two of my favorite Marvel characters and two actors with great chemistry in a buddy cop style movie that, oh yeah, is actually very funny. The humor works, the action's pretty good, and we finally got to see the Wolverine suit in live action. I ended up really liking it. But I didn't love it. And the main reason for that was Deadpool himself. Ryan Reynolds once again delivers on the jokes and quips, and he will never be bad as Deadpool. But the script never really asked me to care about Wade Wilson. Wade's family, so essential to his growth in the previous movie, are reduced to a few minutes of screen time and a small photograph. Vanessa and Wade are on the rocks for some stupid reason, and Cable, Domino, and Russell don't even show up. The movie frames that Deadpool is going on this grand adventure to save his family, but I never get the sense of a deeper makeshift family bond like I got in Deadpool 2 or even like a Fast and the Furious movie. The character is reduced to just being the cliche annoying jokester, which he's always been, but in the first two films there was a lot going on beneath the surface that is just now missing. Honestly, the character growth and change Wade goes through in the first two movies are tossed out in favor of more jokes and a severely underdeveloped version of Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is back and he kills it, but I feel like I've seen this story of the character before. A depressed drunk who failed the X-Men, saw mutants die, goes berserk, and now has a shot at redemption? Oh right, it was done about 8 years ago, only a million times better. The movie takes a gigantic shit on the impact of Logan, literally defiling his grave for an action scene and then rehashing the same arc, all so that they can bring Hugh Jackman back into the Marvel fold. Yeah, they really are gonna make him do this until he's 90.
Wolverine. Yeah, we've figured out a way to do it that's Hugh Jackman approved and Kevin Feige approved, where we're completely protecting the legacy of Logan the way it was left off. We wouldn't mess with that.
G'day, mate. There's nothing that'll bring me back to life faster than a big bag of Marvel cash. Me too, Hugh.
Hold up.
And you decimated dozens of my men with the exhumed corpse of a hero, dishonoring not only his remains, but his memory.
What are you, the internet?
Run that back.
Where we're completely protecting the legacy of Logan the way it was left off. We wouldn't mess with that.
So that was a fucking lie.
Also, how the fuck did every single X-Man die in Wolverine's universe?
And then one day, while I was off on my own, the humans came and went mutant hunting. By the time I stumbled home shit-faced from the bar, it was too late. They were dead,
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, all he says is that humans went mutant hunting, so just some regular humans killed all the X-Men? Really? One of the most powerful superhero teams ever? The one with OP characters like Jean Grey, Quicksilver, Rogue, Iceman, Storm, the team that survived, the Sentinels, they all got squad wiped by some regular ass humans just cause Wolverine, a guy with claws, wasn't there to help? Really?
Well, that's just lazy writing.
It's no secret that the MCU is in an era of creative bankruptcy, where they constantly serve up a half-baked story and lazy character development, but oh look, we got nostalgia cameos to get the nerds screaming. As much as I enjoyed a lot of Deadpool and Wolverine, it kinda sucks that the franchise has been officially MCU-ified, when before it was going in a completely unique direction. Deadpool's character has seen a lot of change over the years. If you want to take it all the way back to the 90s, he initially wasn't much of a hero at all. Creator Rob Liefeld wanted to mix the violent nature and powers of Wolverine with the wisecracking jokes and visual design of Spider-Man. Add a sprinkle of Deathstroke into the mix and you get a Wade Wilson more edgy and villainous than he's typically portrayed nowadays. Some writers have played up the fourth wall breaking, some have made him have some type of split personality disorder. Yeah, that one was kind of weird. Sometimes he's more heroic, other times not so much.
Spare an enemy. Why?
You're droning on!
But sometimes he's given depth and an emotional backstory. And I wish we got more emotionally engaging Deadpool stories like the first two movies. Instead, the character seems to be getting more and more simplified and dumbed down with each passing year. And that's kind of a shame. Then again, maybe I just outgrew the character, I don't know. If you like the video, subscribe while you're here, you know, just hit the button.
Push the button!
And yeah, that's all I got. It's your boy XO Dash signing out.